Moody's cuts ratings on major banks after downgrading the entire country. Okay, here you go. Moody's ratings cut its ratings for deposits at Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, and Wells Fargo. I don't know why they didn't cut Citigroup too. Who knows? And Moody's cites last week's downgrade of the U.S. and the government's weakened ability to support them. Moody's wasn't done with those with banks though. It also downgraded the senior unsecured debt ratings for Bank of America and Bank of New York Mellon. Wow, a rock star in the bank world got cut. In addition, Moody's cut the long-term counterparty risk ratings for some units of B of A, Bank of New York Mellon, JP Morgan. Oh, another rock star went down. State Street Corp and Wells Fargo. How Citigroup avoided all that, I'll never know. But you can see the cascades begun. They cut
Right.
the country, and now they're cutting the biggest banks. They're cutting deposits ratings.
Right, but that cascade is continuing because if you look
Oh
at
yeah,
mortgage rates, they're now over 7%. They're up, and it's gonna ripple throughout the society. So, just as the tariffs and deglobalization are pushing up household goods, this is now pushing up the cost of capital to everybody. It's
yeah.
going to go throughout the society. And the interesting thing about this downgrade, John, is when S&P downgraded the country in 2011. Within 18 days, the president was fired. The Department of Justice goes after the holding company of S&P and almost destroyed it. So, then many years later, a couple years ago, I think it was 2023, Fitch drops it, but Fitch is not seen as prominent in Moody's and S&P. And my read of what just happened is not that Moody's dropped the rating, but Moody's was allowed to drop the rating.
You got it. You can't overstate the importance of that. That is so important what you just
Right.
said.
Right. We have a long article called Caveat Emptor about what the financial coup means to investors, and we describe the S&P downgrade in detail and what happens if you're interested. But but the message here is Moody's was permitted to do this, and I hate to say it, if you look at everything that's happening logically, what it tells me is, we are shifting into a period where you have very wealthy investors and corporate interests who are ready to plunder the United States. I mean,
Absolutely.
right. My question is the rape of Russia coming this way?
Yes, it is. The answer is yes. The downgrade is
Right,
part of the plan. We're the top of the first inning in this game,
right,
and it's
right.
going to get nasty.
So our annual wrap up was protecting your assets, so avoiding financial fraud,
Yep.
and it's explosive. And I have news for you. It cannot be this big or this explosive unless it has official protection.
Okay. I'm glad you said that. Okay,
Right.
because there's one more sentence in the story I want to cut to in that New York Times story about having a bank account. Get this. Late last month, the Federal Reserve, withdrew directives that required banks to notify it before doing business with crypto clients. How very interesting. Huh.
Well, they're getting ready for the Genius Act to pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So the stablecoin network is going to be able to go fast globally through the mobile payment systems and essentially avoid almost 100% of the regulation.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
going to be get
Yeah.
ready for digital Iraqi pallets of cash.